Number 4, prayer is creative thinking that lightens meditation that's led by Peace Pilgrim. And it's this, what is just being chanted. I'm going to repeat a set of words and invite you, and you can have your eyes gently closed and simply be aware of the words and be inwardly aware. Be inwardly aware. Hear the words, and then in a deep and resonant voice within yourself, repeat the words inside. Yes? That's the practice. It's a simple practice. So first, begin with this. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be. And allow yourself to remain here for a few minutes. Don't be in a rush to open your eyes. There's a gentle way to bring awareness back into shared space after any meditative practice. With your eyes gently closed, if you can bring your gaze down towards your lap. Gently, gently open your eyes there. No rush, gentle, gentle. And then gently, gently uplift your eyes into the shared space. And allow yourself to see deeply beyond the name and beyond the form. Allow yourself to be present, to be
Swami Sankarananda at Unity of New Orleans today. Swami Sankarananda is a simple pilgrim of peace and a servant of God in our path of awakening to the one truth. Living much of his adult life as a businessman in the tech industry, he realized the selfish pursuits were meaningless and through grace came to the pursuit of God or high self. Having given up his old life, he dedicated his new life to service of this self in all. Please join me in welcoming Swami Sankarananda.
Good morning. Good morning. Can we practice a little yoga first? Don't worry, you don't need a mat. Right where you are. We're just going to chant Om together 3 times. Cool? And it's just like that. It's very simple. We do it with the breath. And so we can do this together. Don't worry how it sounds. It'll sound so beautiful when it comes together. So exhaling completely. And allow yourself to take a deep inhale into the gut, into the abdomen. And we'll begin at the top. And again. So beautiful. We're learning how to see here, you know. How to see ourselves, how to see others, how to see God in all of this. Oh, good morning. I'm very grateful to be with you, to be your guest for this morning. And I brought along another special guest in the form of her shoes. So these shoes are Peace Pilgrim shoes. They're a pair of shoes that she had worn in the latter years of her walk. Who here has heard of Peace Pilgrim? It's about half or a little more, something like that. I wondered, as I was walking in this morning, I wondered if she had actually given a talk here before. And that's a little bit of trivia. I have a feeling she might have. I'll introduce Peace Pilgrim just a little bit, and then I'll let her introduce herself in a few words. And the topic of this is how to be at peace and how to share peace in challenging times. It's timely, yes? Mm-hmm. Yes. We thought so. And so we brought Peace along because there could be no better advocate and no better teacher than dear Peace Pilgrim. You see, Peace Pilgrim had renounced her old way of life, and she had, through her practice and through her path, discovered the highest self, God, within, and dedicated her life to service of the Lord in the mission of peace. And she was given a mission of walking pilgrimage. Now this is frankly unimaginable. I walked a very short period of time. I walked for about 2.5 years. Peace had walked for 27 years. And in fact, it's really her that brought me here, just through a few steps. And I'll touch on those. But she had begun walking for peace January 1st of 1953. And not many of us would have been here at that time, including dear Swami. I would have entered the picture not long after. but our parents and our prior generations, etc., would know that this was also a time of great strife and great division within the country and within the world. This time we're in now is not the only time. It might seem like it, and it might seem like, oh my God, this is the worst, but we've been here. And this was Korean War time, and then Vietnam War time, and all of the strife that was surfacing in this time. And peace was called forth, these are her words, to carry the message of peace. She was given this very specific mission of walking for peace, sharing the way of peace until mankind had learned the way of peace. So of course, once she took up the pilgrimage, she walked until her last day in the body. So she started January 1st, 1953, and she left her body in 1981. And over that period of time, she walked about, best estimate, something like 70,000 miles. She had walked carrying in the way of peace and carrying this message through every one of the 50 US states, through all of the provinces in Canada, all of the states in Mexico, through the capital city of every one of these, and through every town or village of at least 10,000 population, carrying this message. And she walked, I'm going to read a little bit from this booklet. Most of you can't see this, but we have copies for anyone that would like one. This is quite an amazing little booklet, and it's free. Everything Peace ever did was free. And we do our best to continue in the tradition. Anyone who can see, that's an image on the left side of her walking. And just wearing the clothes on her back, a simple tunic. She wore the color blue, pants, and a tunic. And on the front of the tunic was stitched the message, Peace Pilgrim. That's it. Just the name, Peace Pilgrim. And on the back, in her last years, the last 15 years or so, it said, walked 25,000 miles for peace. Now, I was inspired, and this was very challenging for the Swami because I don't like to walk. So I had to face that. But I was inspired to walk in her shoes, which is literally how these shoes came here. And so, as I said, I walked for about 2.5 years with a commitment that really was inspired and brought forward by Peace Pilgrim. I have been seeking a meaningful life, and I have committed myself to service, and I did not know what that would entail. But I learned. And I'll vouch for her walk started, her peace pilgrimage started in Pasadena, California, January 1st, 1953. And she walked east through the Southwest Desert. Has anyone ever been in the Southwest Desert? Southwest of the US? Yeah? So if you fly over it, it doesn't look like so much. If you drive through it, it'll just take a day. But if you walk through it, it's 3 months. Carrying nothing, asking for nothing, not even thinking about. And she would say, she walked until offered shelter and fasted until offered food. And then she would add, and it's always been offered, aren't people amazing? If you allow yourself, you will have your mind boggled by this. Because if you really reflect on it and consider it, you'll see that the body would need water more than once during a day walking across the desert. Do you suppose? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's at least, I vouch for this, it's at least 3 days from water to water in the Southwest Desert. So how does it come? It came. I can vouch for that as well. So just a little shocking, yes? So that's pilgrimage. And Peace would say that pilgrimage is to a place or for a thing. And it's traditional, on foot and in faith. And so in this way, I would share, just to add a little to the authority of Peace Pilgrim. She can do it for herself, but I just share a little bit to help bring a little bit of color. And what I'd like to share is something, this booklet is actually from a talk that she gave. I don't know the exact year, but it was a radio talk She was asked this question. She was asked the question about inner peace. What are the steps towards inner peace? And this booklet is actually a transcription of that talk. It was extemporaneous, the answer. We won't explore all of it, but we'll touch on a little bit of it. Specifically related to this topic, how to be at peace and how to contribute to the cause of peace in challenging times. We'll stay on topic. And we'd like to share some of the guidance that she offers. And some of it is a reflection on her life, but it's not her life only. It's really related to this universal aspect of life, this seeking out for a meaningful life, or meaning in life, which we all feel the call towards, don't we? Yeah. And so I'll just share a few of the words here. I'd like to read a little bit, if it's okay, and we'll borrow these for that purpose. She reflects, she says, in my early life, I made two very important discoveries. In the first place, I discovered that making money was easy. And in the second place, I discovered that making money and spending it foolishly was completely meaningless. I knew that this was not what I was here for, but at that time, this was many years ago, I didn't know exactly what I was here for. It was out of a very deep seeking for a meaningful way of life, and after having walked all one night through the woods, that I came to what I now know to be a very important psychological hump. I felt a complete willingness, without any reservations, to give my life, to dedicate my life to service. I tell you, it's a point of no return. After that, you can never go back to a completely self-centered living. And I'll share the words because we know the words. She had this one evening, and she had felt what we all feel. She had a modicum of what we call a successful life here, but it was not satisfactory. And so there was a longing, there must be more than this. She had discovered some realities. She had some realizations earlier. She knew, for example, that what we call God, and God is a name for a reality, or the underlying reality. Just a name. There are many names for this reality. Many names. They're all perfectly good names. In fact, in the Lord's Prayer, we call the Lord by his name. Which name? Any name we choose. And so she had learned that the reality that the name is pointing to is true. She had learned it in her own life. And so she knew that at the point. And this one evening, she felt at this point that she describes, and she took a walk. She said these words. She said, "If you can use me for anything, please use me. I give you all of me. I withhold nothing." Now, if those words resonate with you, I would ask you to remember them. Because if you listen carefully, you'll hear that those are words of absolute surrender. Not giving up, but giving up. Yes? If you can use me for anything, please use me. I give you all of me, I withhold nothing. And she walked through the night. She describes it. It's transcribed. It's written. She walked for several hours through the night. She came to a clearing, and through an inner voice, she received enough guidance to take her next steps. And 15 years later, after an inner transformation, which she'll describe a little bit here, and it's really about us, and it's about our life. That's why we're sharing. It is the way of peace. She was asked to walk this peace pilgrimage that she had walked for 27 years after an inner move. And that's what she describes here. And so I went to the second phase of my life. I began to live to give what I could instead of to get what I could. And I entered a new and wonderful world. My life began to become meaningful. I attained the blessing of good health. I haven't had a cold or headache since. And She says, as an aside, most illness is psychologically induced. From that time on, I have known what my life work would be, work for peace, that it would cover the whole peace picture, peace among nations, peace among groups, peace among individuals, and the very, very important inner peace. And there's no peace outside without inner peace. However, there's a great deal of difference between being willing to give your life and actually giving your life. And for me, 15 years of preparation and of inner seeking lay between. During this time, I became acquainted with what the psychologists refer to as ego and conscience. We have terms for it in different traditions and different languages as well. But this is a center theme of every spiritual tradition. The two apparent selves. Some would say the fleshly nature and the spirit nature, like this. And so I began to realize that it's as though we have two selves or two natures or two wills with very different viewpoints. Because the viewpoints were so different, I felt a struggle in my life at this period between the two selves with the two viewpoints. And I think we're familiar with this. I think we're familiar, in fact I know that we all are, with this one viewpoint which is centered around me and the way the world is supposed to treat me. Yeah? I think we know about this one. The way I'm supposed to be seen, what I deserve, my rights, what I'm supposed to get here. Yes? How I'm supposed to be. And how everyone else is supposed to be. Oh my Lord, what a mess. And this is where we are right now. This is what we're seeing right now, writ large across the sea. What I deserve, what I need. And of course, everyone will have their own beliefs. Some will believe that it's proper to pull the right lever. Some will believe that it's proper to pull the left lever. Where there's one, there has to be the other. Is it so? Yes. Yes. And then this lower nature will seek to divide, classify, judge the one that pulls the other lever. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Even though both levers have to be pulled. Isn't that something? And so the way of peace is in the other self. The real self, the God-centered self, as she would say, or the self-centered in the good of the whole. Now the issue is, frankly, and we all know this, we'll just remind here, the issue is that the little self, the self-centered in my interest, my personal interest, which is not really in my interest. It's not really in my interest. It's not. I hear that it is from the voice in my head. I hear that it is. It seems like it is. It seems like if they could just figure it out, if they could just grow up, if they could just get it together, then everything would be fine. It would be perfect then. Yes? And this voice says this, no matter what the view. I remember while I was walking pilgrimage, that every now and then I would hear about someone who had started a pilgrimage, and they were teaching the way of peace. They were teaching the way of peace. If everyone would agree with them, then there would be peace. Does that sound familiar? Normally, the teaching of peace is like this, isn't it? If you just do what I say, it'll be fine. And then, of course, we build up, and then we try to enforce our way, and we think, well, peace through strength. There we go, peace through strength. I'm going to make you be at peace. It's lunacy, you see. It's actually lunacy. But that voice is so loud. That voice is so loud, and it's so demanding, and it's easy for us to hear, but it's impossible to please it. There's this saying, something like, 1,000 is not enough and 1 is too many. It's impossible to please it. It is. Because it'll go on prattling on about who the problem is. Sometimes it'll be me, by the way. It won't spare me either. Sometimes I will be the cause of the difficulty, but usually it's someone else. And so it's very loud. We're familiar with it. The issue with the God-centered self, with the Lord, and this relationship that we're developing with the Lord, which is the power and the glory, which is the reality here, the one reality, which is everywhere we look, is that he, she, it is silent and completely tolerant and completely accepting of all of our craziness. And never judges us on anything that we say or think or do. Never judges us on anything. Sticks it out with us. Will wait as long as it takes for us to turn towards him, it, she, and ask for guidance and ask for help. And only when we turn and only when we ask will it come. Only then can we hear it. And that's this turn that Peace is talking about, and this is the way of peace. I'll share just a little. She continues, but I'll share a couple of simple observations that Peace makes about the way of peace. But this is really what she goes on to describe, and it's really, I'll share something. When I walked Peace Pilgrimage, and I walked for about 2.5 years total, I did walk coast to coast. That was 2014. And I started out in Pasadena, California to honor Peace Pilgrim and her sharing. I had not met her in the flesh, but very much I met her and came to know her in a pretty significant way. And then she had completed in New York City, and as did I, about 10 months later. And there was a celebration for Peace Pilgrim. Now, she had left the body in 1981. This is 2014. And there was a celebration of her offering to us. And many of the people who had been touched by her, who had met her in the flesh, or whose parents had met her and been influenced and like this, or that had learned of her after she left the body and were moved by her sharings. And there are many sharings from Peace Pilgrim that they're written in English, they're not in Sanskrit, they're not in Greek, they're not in Aramaic, they're very plain. They're very direct, they're very simple, and they're quite profoundly beautiful and accurate and helpful. Anyone who would read this, for example, will be quite amazed with what's being shared. So I had reached the East Coast, and there was this celebration in Egg Harbor, New Jersey, where Mildred Norman had taken birth, and that's the name that she had been given, ordained. And so she had taken the name Peace Pilgrim in 1953 when she began to walk. And I met her sister. Her sister's name is Helene. And actually there was a 2-mile peace walk during this celebration. And through grace, I was able to walk hand in hand, holding hands with her sister Helene, for a mile. Half hour we had to walk together and visit and talk. And you know what she told me? It's the most amazing thing. She said, I never knew Peace Pilgrim. She said, I knew Mildred. I never knew Peace Pilgrim. Does that make any sense? Yeah, because Peace Pilgrim had made the turn. She had become a pure instrument of the Lord, which is really what we're called to. Let us be clear on the goal. It's not some limited goal. That's not why we came here. We didn't come here in order to live a worldly life and be constantly disappointed and have our hopes dashed all the time and become bowed down by life and then leave the body in a cradle once again. We didn't come here for that reason. We did not. We came here to establish a relationship with peace, to become an instrument of peace, to be free and to share the way of freedom. This is why we came here. It's not something other than that. And we take steps little at a time. It's fine. That's the way we walk. Little at a time. It's all good. Little at a time. But it helps for us, and all who are coming here, who come here on Sunday, my God, what grace, because you actually know it, or you know something about it. That I need to know where I'm going, and this is where I'm going. I'm going to the place of peace right here, right now, not after this body, now. And the steps are a little at a time, one step at a time, like this. And this is what Peace is sharing. She shares her own story. Now remember, 15 years, that's a little bit of time. But those words of surrender were significant. So, yeah, Helene said, I never knew. She said, I only came to know Peace Pilgrim after she left her body, because people that were touched by Peace Pilgrim started to reach out, and they found me. And then what happened? And then Helene tells me, and what I learned inspired me so that I turned my life over to the cause of peace. And I began to visit the local schools and to share the way of peace in the local schools. And I used what Peace Pilgrim had given. Interesting, it's contagious too. Thank God. So I'll just share one or two other points that we can work with, that I feel like we can work with. But the most important point I share is the goal of being at peace. It's a big goal, but it is by no means unrealistic. And big goals are important because your life is much bigger than you might take it to be. It's much more important than you might believe. This life that you're living was given to you by the Lord Himself. It's direct, not through an intermediary, not through something physical. Your spirit, you've always been spirit. You will continue to be spirit. You're an eternal soul. You are not the body. The body is very important. You're not even the mind. The mind is very important. Don't believe it. Go beyond it. It's very important. Use the mind. Don't be used by the mind. That's the point. So don't subscribe to limited goals. Have a real goal. Have a meaningful goal. It's very important. And to be a peacemaker is a very meaningful goal. What does Jesus say about the peacemaker? Blessed is the peacemaker, for they shall. Yes. So just a couple of thoughts to share from peace as we close the message. She has this comment, it's a reflection. The spiritual life is the real life. All else is illusion and deception. Only those who are attached to God are truly free. Only those who live up to the highest light they have find their lives in harmony. Those who act on their highest motivations become a power for good. It is not important that others be noticeably affected. Results should never be sought or desired. Know that every right thing you do, no matter how small, every right thing you do, every good word you say, no matter how little, every positive thought you think has good effect. Please know this. Please hear this. Please know this. Every good thing you do, every kind word you speak, every good thought you think has good effect, period. We are in the kingdom, and so of course it is so. All people can be peace workers. Whenever you bring harmony into any unpeaceful situation, whenever you bring harmony into any unpeaceful situation, you contribute to the total peace picture. Please don't be concerned about fixing the world. Please do not. Just bring peace into the situation that's in front of you. And that goes to the fixing of the greater. Yes? Please hear this. Don't be concerned about the state of the world. Please. Have concern about what's right in front of you. Be present in this moment with what's right in front of you. There's an opportunity in every problem. There's not a problem in every opportunity. There's an opportunity in every problem. This is a healthy view. It's a productive view, a beneficial view. Please take the opportunity and do whatever you can to help aid the cause of peace in this situation. It's just this. Just this. That's it. That's really all. Insofar as you have peace in your life, and these actions bring peace in our life, and so far as you have peace in your life, you reflect it into your surroundings and into your world. And so that's the message. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we have the power within us. Yes, we do. Yes, we can do the work of peace. Yes, we can be at peace in this time. We will have to experience the opposite first, and we'll have to allow ourselves to see the opportunity. And for that, we simply need to ask the Lord to show it to us. Yeah? Ask within ourselves, ask our own highest self like this. And we'll see it. And whatever the little thing is, whether it's helping in a family situation, just a family situation, helping a mother to accept some bad habit that her daughter has, to accept, just to accept, and then to work with it from there. Little things. Little things. Just like this. Don't worry about it being big. Don't worry about it being remarkable. Just deal with what's in front of us. And as we take these steps together, this world transforms in front of our eyes. In the immortal words of Tiny Tim from Christmas Carol, the movie A Christmas Carol, most everyone's seen it. God bless us, everyone. Thank you very much. So anyone that would like, please take one. Okay? They're remarkable, please. I encourage you. Thank you very much.
Now is the time for tithes and offerings. Please say the abundance blessing. Divine love, flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Divine love, flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Divine love, flowing through me,
Good afternoon, everyone. As some of us know, this is Membership Sunday. For those that desire to join Unity Spiritual Center of New Orleans on today, this is your moment. For our members, this is our renewal day. Each year, all of our members are to renew our membership every year. So we're going to form two lines. Those that want to join today that are new for the new membership, and then we'll form another line for those that are renewing our memberships. There's a form that Mary Beth is passing out. Some of us have already filled out our forms, taken our pictures, but for the others, we're going to form two lines and we're going to get this started. On the left of me, this is going to be for those that want to join, and this is you joining as a new member. Renewals will be to the right of me.